Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the primetime edition of Focus on Liberia. My name is Dennis Jai, and we are broadcasting from Atlanta, Georgia. In tonight's edition of Prime Time, we're going to be on the topic, What Catch Your Heart? Tonight, we should have had the CEO of Spoon Network, Mr. Stanton Witherspoon, but at midday today, he told us that his schedule was tight and he was not able to make it, even though this was planned weeks in advance. But stuff happens, and we are here. So we have assembled Liberians from various backgrounds to talk to us and the Liberian people on what issues on their minds. What is it that keep you up at night that you are thinking about that you want to share? We call that what catch your heart. We want to welcome all our viewers from across the globe. Joining me to discuss what catch your heart, I have Mr. Jimmy Eastman, who is joining us from the nation's capital. Jimmy, welcome to Focus on Liberia.
Thank you, Jai. It's a pleasure to be on. I hope we have a very interesting and fulfilling discussion.
Also joining us is FOL Health contributor Mrs. Abby Tyler, who is joining us from Philadelphia. Abby, welcome to Focus on Liberia. Okay, I see she's making faces there. She's outside of Philadelphia from Bucks County. Abby, welcome to Focus on Liberia.
Hi, thanks for having me. Yes, I'm in the greater Philadelphia region. Thank you. Thanks for having me, and welcome to all my fellow panelists. Thanks for having me.
Last but not the least is the host of On Point, Mr. Jerome Gaiman, who is also joining us. He's joining us from Florida, sunny Florida. Mr. Gaiman, welcome to Focus on Liberia.
Thank you very much. Thank you to my former beautiful panelists, well endowed, enlightened, and I think we look forward to having a great show.
Also joining us later on, we'll have Mr. Aliu Kamara. We're going to have Mrs. Carl Famula. We're going to have Dr. Saki Golafale and maybe Mr. George Kanan Tule. But again, this is What Catch Your Heart, and we are broadcasting from Atlanta, Georgia. Most of the time, we think about Liberia, and most of us, we discuss these things, at work, at the playground, on social media, all the time. We discuss. So tonight, we bring you together to just tell us what catch your heart. And this time, we're going to go around the room and start with Mr. Gaiman this time. Mr. Gaiman, what catch your heart?
Well, there are several things that catch my heart in Liberia. I want to talk about the country devil. The issue with the country devil interfering with constitutional authority catches my heart.
Thank you. Okay, let me go to Abby, and we'll come back to discuss this. But Abby, what catches your heart?
What catches my heart? So I say, what catches my heart? I see all the different being from a healthcare perspective. I see all the different campaign people going on my timeline every day, all the different political parties, the sitting president, and also those who want to who are running against him. Nobody has I don't see the health plan. And sometimes when I ask, it's like, okay, it's being put together, but I would love to. People tag me, like one chief of staff of another party always tag me all the different posts. But I want to see what they're doing about healthcare in Liberia, what they plan on doing differently from the president. And you would think that at this time, I want to know if they're reaching out to healthcare professionals in America, at least getting a tally of all the different healthcare professionals in America and see how they can work, how those people can work along with the professionals back home to make the system a little better or improve it greatly.
Thank you. Jimmy, what catches your heart?
One thing that catches my heart is when I look back home in Liberia and I don't see professionals, young Liberians getting the nod. In other words, I see foreign firms, foreign professionals having strategic jobs in our economy, in our industry. I really want to see the campaign to promote Liberian professionals in every facet of our society because from my observation, it's being filled by foreigners, and we are not making enough effort to get that ship sailing, so that tomorrow, if a foreign firm come to our country, it will not be manned by foreigners, but by Liberians and Liberian professionals. That's what catch my eye.
Thank you so much, Jimmy. Again, for me, what catch my heart is the budget. And it does in a way that you look at the budget and you see where the priority of the government lies. And the things that are supposed to get the priority are not getting the priority. And worse than that, not just that, but when those kind of things happen, you don't see the outcry from the public. It's like the public, the general public is just, willing horse being driven to the slaughter. It's like whatever happened, and you have many, many people who are rejoicing and on the side of the people that are doing these things. That's what catch my heart. The budget showing the priorities of the government being wrong. Ladies and gentlemen, again, this is the show What Catch Your Heart, and we'll start the discussion by this time we're going to start with Abby on What Catch Your Heart. She said it, and now we're going to go deep into it. According to Abby, she doesn't see the health plan. Abby, go ahead and give us more. Let's go into details.
Well, when it comes to healthcare, in general, whether you're talking about back home or even here in the diaspora, and I'm not just talking about America. I can't really speak to people in England, other places and all that, but I do see them interacting on Facebook. Healthcare doesn't seem to be a priority in Liberia. The whole healthcare sector, a functional healthcare sector, doesn't seem to be a priority in Liberia and among Liberians, unless if there's a crisis going on. Last time it was, Ebola, everybody was praying, everybody was doing everything and talking about how things were supposed to be improving. I can't believe how we're somewhere we don't even have gloves and this and that. And it was like the biggest thing on Facebook and the social media. I think that was like 2015. As soon as that went away, everybody just went right back to being relaxed again, and then it's like, we're back now. It's Ebola, not Ebola, sorry, the coronavirus. And people were saying, oh yeah, we had the first wave and the second wave. I'm like, you didn't have any waves in Liberia. That was like just a tickle. Trust me, we lived the wave over here. And meaning I was on the front lines doing that. So it just comes to a point where now that, and even when they were interviewing George Weah when he was running, and somebody asked him, how do you plan on improving the healthcare sector in Liberia? He's like, I remember he said, well, I donate some things to the sector. I donate things to the different facilities. I'm like, that's not enough. That doesn't even enter that answers the question. So now that we're getting ready to close to 2023, and I see all these people running for government, like the former vice president, and I see Alex Cummings and other people who are behind them, who are educated and accomplished in their own fields and all that. But I need to see like a concrete plan on how to plan on improving the healthcare sector differently from George Weah. Because, at this point, I don't think George Weah is going to do anything different than what he's doing. But also it just comes on the point that people don't put healthcare as a priority. So whenever you're talking about anything to help, where you hear the different parties and all that talking, barely is healthcare mentioned, or if it's mentioned, it's like, in passing. So I just want to know what it is that they plan on doing. I want to see concrete plans, and how do they plan on reaching out to the healthcare professionals over here that are going to work along. I didn't see them come and take anybody's job. They're going to work along with the healthcare professionals over there to improve the healthcare system. That's what catches my heart.
Thank you so much. Let me go to Jimmy. Abby, what catch Abby's heart, and then people want to be grammatically correct here. What catches her heart is he said we are acting like the monkeys. When it's raining, we will build a house. Tomorrow we will build a house, but when the rain stops, we're going back to normal. She's not seeing a plan. Do we see a plan for anything in Liberia, from the current to those wanting the job?
I think the matter that Abby raises is very important. We all know that health is key to prosperity. Without health, we cannot produce. But I look at things from a technical economic point of view. In America, for instance, the healthcare system is supported by insurance companies, which charge. It is more for profit. So that's where we see it's getting investment because people make money. Now, in Africa, we don't have that leverage. That healthcare in Africa is typically supported by the state. It is more socialistic type of medicine, and healthcare. Now, given our situation, that's why I would like to pose to Abby. Given the situation, we're limited. I mean, there's competing priorities on our limited budget. We're not producing. That is one of the most critical aspect of our existence today, the fact that we're not producing. So we have a very limited spending purse. With our limitations, how does she see other countries attack resolving the healthcare issues given their very limited resources?
Right.
Because
Before Abby answers, she's talking about a plan. So let's say those who want to be president now, do you see any plan as to how they're going to? We didn't
no,
see that from the one who became president, Mr. Weir. Now we are not seeing it from those that are vying for his job.
I have not seen any laid out plan. Generally, I've seen that healthcare is an issue, but markedly, if you look at the budget appropriations for the past years, I don't see enough being given to healthcare. So, if what kind of plan can you execute if you have very limited funds? Again,
I think I was online last night and I was on another person's post, and he said one of the senators in Liberia makes $180,000 a year. And I'm thinking a Liberian senator makes $180,000 a year. Now, if you're from this little small county, or I'm sure it's not as huge as anything in America, I'm not even saying to get the level to Johns Hopkins. I'm not even saying get to that level. I'm saying you can have little clinics all over Liberia. Okay, okay, there's like 100,000 people live in this area. You can have one little clinic here. You have little clinics here. You can have one big hospital in every county, or you can have, depending on how big the counties are, you can have one major hospital for 3 counties, but have little clinics all over, at least, because I'm a family nurse practitioner. Primary care is essential. It's essential to keep the country going, and to keep your population strong and growing strong. Okay, so if you have little clinics around, and like I said, the health professionals here, you can also get the amount of people that they're here, and also say, okay, I'm willing to see who's willing to go back home maybe once a year and help out. Those of us who can also do things online. Not everybody has to go and be physically on the ground. Because people think that if you don't go overseas, that means you're not really doing anything. You're doing everything here. Like you said, not every missionary has to be on the ground. Okay, so you can still do that. You can have people educating the nursing students. You can have people educating doctors over there, NPs, PAs, and all that. There's so many things that you can do that's not that expensive. And also, if once people see that the government is really putting much effort into it, a lot of people will be able to contribute and all that, and contribute without charge. But as opposed to when you look at it, like, it's so massive that what is it that we can do that's going to make an impact? Take it in small steps. Make it like, okay, I was there this time. This is what I did for my 6 years while I was there, and the next person can pick up from there, or I can continue my next 6 years. But I don't see that. I just see people saying, oh yeah, this other senator, like, sending people and medical doctors coming from America. They're going to be here for 2 weeks and they're going to take care of this. Okay, they're there for 2 weeks. What's happening? Primary care is continuing. When I see my patients, I'm not saying, oh, I won't see you again for another 5 years. They have to come in. I do the physical. I do everything. I do the blood work. I order preventive testing and all. All of that is not going on in Liberia, as I know, because I have people there. So what are they doing to make that better?
Thank you. And I mean, there are areas like in areas where you have a state-sponsored healthcare plan, right? Like we have here, so it's not impossible. But we've been joined by Mr. Muhammad Sharif, who is an analyst here on Focus on Liberia. Mr. Sharif from Waplo Institute, welcome to Focus on Liberia. What catch your heart?
Thank you, Dennis. This is very impromptu. I usually, Sunday evenings and Sunday afternoons and stuff like that, I do different things to get prepared for the next work day. But I understand the situation this afternoon, and so here I am. Okay, so. Abby, nice to see you. Very good analysis there. So because this is open mic, so you're gonna see me all over the place.
So this time we want you to just specifically the one main thing that keep you up at night. That's what we want to start with.
There's right now, I mean, it's so impromptu. So there's not one thing right now. There are many things that really keep me up, right?
Give us
if you want me to jump in, if you want me to jump into that, I wanted to sort of suspend that till later, but I can't. I mean,
sure. You can suspend that.
What is? Okay, sure.
Yeah, let me go to Mr. Gaiman. Mr. Gaiman, Abby talk about health plan, okay, and we see that. We've not seen a plan from any of our contestants, either from previous election or this election, on really what's the healthcare plan. We are reactive when there is pandemic. We are over the place looking for answers. If that is done, again, just like the monkeys, when it's raining, they want to build their house. When the rain stops, they're going back, jumping from tree to tree.
Well, I want to kind of disagree with my sister here. Excuse for calling you my sister, but Ms. Tyler here. I've been fortunate to actually to be in corporate America and to have been to some of the top. There's a gentleman that is now the senator for Florida. His name is if you follow Liberia, American politics, HCA, the hospital system in 1968. They came and looked at the American health system, and they saw that there was a gap. And these young men and women, professional folks, got together and formed a private institution that would take over the health system. When you talk about Ray Scott, the senator from he was our former governor and former president of the HCA, and made billions of dollars before going into politics. So my question to Ms. Tyler is, those of you who are well-versed and well-endowed with the education and the endowment in the healthcare system, what is stopping you all from actually taking advantage of the major gap in Liberia when it comes to healthcare that will make you and everybody else a billionaire to actually enhance? I see the present government, they're building hospitals all over the place. But like Brother Eastman said, this is socialist medicine. It won't take us anywhere. We need to privatize this. And this is where Ms. Tyler comes in. What is it that we are doing? Those of you who are well connected, you are in the system, why aren't you taking advantage and filling this major gap that will make you so wealthy?
Right. Thank you. Abby, before you come in, Mr. Gilman, so what is the plan of people coming? Let's say the president before he came to power and the people wanting power now. Are they planning to say, okay, we are planning to invite people in to do this? We are planning, because before people come in, you must have something that you're thinking about. Is there any plan that you see as to how they intend to approach the whole healthcare system or those healthcare issues?
Well, Dennis, when I got out of graduate school, I came into the state of Florida and saw a gap. Nobody invited me. I did my research. I knew what I wanted. Since November 2nd, 1999, I've been 22 years, been very successful in what I do. No, you are Liberian. Nobody needs to invite you to come and become a billionaire. Nobody. So the question is, what is it that we are doing to fill such a gap?
Go ahead, Abby.
Okay, this is my issue. I'm not looking at this from like, okay, something, because I can go there and I can become a millionaire and I can do those different things. I'm not looking at it from the point of me becoming a millionaire. what my standpoint when it comes to Liberia, even, and I'm gonna repeat this 10,000 times. When I was younger, we had my mother had a friend, Miss Rose, who was a nurse at JFK, but she was also a nurse at home. We know very well in Liberia, primary care doctors are like few and far between. Most of us who were not wealthy had no access to any of those doctors. They weren't even in our geographical area to say, okay, yes, you can go to there. Miss Rose, the one who took care of us, okay, well, the little bit that she had, okay, she took care of us. She kept most of us alive. So she was the one that inspired me to really want to go into nursing and want to go into the field of helping people. I always wanted to be a missionary prior to that too. Okay. So when I talk about, making things better, improving the healthcare sector, I'm not talking about like, oh yeah, I'm looking at economic point of view. I could go there and make a lot of money. I could do this. I could do this. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about just making smaller changes that are going to improve the lives of Liberians. Okay, so the economic part, I know like 10,000 Liberian people who are accountants and everything else. That's them. Let them talk about the economic part. I'm just talking about the fact that I people in Liberia, citizens, people who look like me, people who have children like me, my kids shouldn't have access to better health care. Why these kids? I mean, most of them, they need that. The women need their mammograms, their kids need their vaccines, men need their prostate check, like men's health, women's health, children's health, everything. Those are important things. Those are important things that people need for the society to grow. But it seems like as if when you bring it up, then people are like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Okay, well, how come the country is not and coming to me? You want my services. Why aren't you coming to me? You're saying like, okay, I'm supposed to go in there and do it. Okay, those are people who are doing it fine. I respect that. But I'm just saying, at this point, all the different people who are running for president and all that, they should be reaching out to health professionals in Liberia and say, what can you do? What can you do? How can we collaborate with you to improve the healthcare sector in Liberia? Whether you can volunteer or do that. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I want to see year in, year out. It's the same old thing. Just the other day, they said there was no water system in JFK. That barely even touched a pulse on Facebook. Everybody was busy talking about the budget and this and that and that and that. All of that is so important. Why is it Liberian people don't see that? Even over here, why don't they ever see that healthcare is so important? I don't get that. They'll be like, oh, I saw this person walking out there. They were so healthy. I can't believe they're dead. Well, you don't even know what was going on in that person's life anyways. So why? It's such an important issue for me, but it's like a personal issue for me because year in, year out, people are not supposed to be dying so early in Liberia for preventable diseases. That shouldn't be happening this time around. People say the same thing. Oh, we don't know what we're supposed to do. It's been done many other places, many other smaller countries. Why are we sitting there acting as if to say everything that has to be done in Liberia hasn't been done somewhere else before? Why do we do that?
Thank you.
Well, Ms. Tyler, real quick.
Hold on, Jerome. Hold on, Jerome. I want to go to Mohammed
It's not
this time.
just to you. I'm not just saying this to you, Mr. Jerome. I'm not. No, this is general.
Yeah. Let me go to Mr. Sharif. Either you are ready to tell us what catch your heart, or you can make your contribution to the issue being raised by Mr. Gilman as a counter to what catches Abby's heart. You're muted, Mr.
So again, I apologize, and I'm probably going to be all over the place tonight. But Abby's point is very profound, and I think that what is going on is that the administration is not seeking it's not tapping into the vast array of resources that is at its disposal. You have the diaspora, you have individuals like Abby and the rest of them who are available to help the Liberian community, the Liberian nation state. And so the administration, instead of tapping into that human resource, that human capacity, what the government is instead doing is that they go out to the Europeans and the Americans to go out to the system when your own people can assist you better. But they don't look at that. A case in point is Dr. Dubanyang keep bringing this up. Dr. Young has volunteered to help the country in many ways, but his services are not solicited by the government. In fact, they're rejected by the government because Dr. Young is allegedly a member of the opposition, of a political opposition. This is not acceptable. If you're going to sort of bail prepare for, you build your country, capacity. Now, in the years to come, you have to rely on all of your citizens, regardless of whether they belong to the ruling CDC party or belong to the opposition party. But time and time and again, we see this administration not investing into its own resource, not calling upon people who can help them. They rather have individuals who don't know what they're doing, and they get paid zillions of dollars to not do anything. This is inexcusable.
Thank you. Thank you. Even before I announce and let's be brief because there are a lot of people want to share what Ketch they had. We have an overseas caller. Caller, we didn't even open the phone line. Caller, your name and where you calling from.
Yes, thank you, Mr. John. My name is Benjamin Kufa Frenier. I'm calling from the great city of Seattle, Washington State.
Oh, okay. It looked like an overseas caller. But quickly, Ben, what question you had?
Yeah, I would like to respond to Mr.
Yeah, Ben, we don't have the time yet. So quick listed what Ketch you had, and we'll come back to responding.
Oh, no. Because I just want to respond to them, and I will be honest with you, because she asked something very important. I have to be long. So if you don't have time, I can hold on until you have time and come back to me. Because I want Liberians to understand. She asked something very important. And
all right. Use 1 minute and respond, please.
Yes, Adi said she have seen that a lot of people who are vying for office in Liberia don't have programs and don't have plans. I would say to some extent she's right, but she can go to my website and she will see that I have plans for the health sector in Liberia. But the thing is the major problem that most of us make mistakes with in Liberia is that we are failing to realize or recognize that the state is broken. Liberia is broken. So I will tell you something. You guys have all the best idea on the show. I'm listening to you guys. Nothing in Liberia will work until we put in what I call the frameworks for a functioning state. Nothing will work in that country. Just to go to the next point. Mr. Gayman said, Liberians should move to Liberia and go and invest. But I will tell you this. Mr. Gayman moved to another state that had the economic framework, the structure to support him. So he had everything there to support his ideas and his initiatives. If you bring that same individual to Liberia, it would work because the state is broken. The foundational frameworks, they are absent. So you can take all your brilliant ideas to Liberia. I will tell you this, until we can address the foundational frameworks that are absent in Liberia, nothing will work. And that's why I intend to do when I take over Liberia. The structure of the Liberian state has to be rebuilt. It's broken.
Thank you.
Broken.
Thank you, Ben. Let's go to Jimmy. Jimmy, what Ketch you had? Let's go in a little more detail, and we're going to be a little fast here.
Okay. Just to proffer a little bit about what Mrs. Tyler was saying. We're going to Liberia next month. I'm going with a team of doctors and missionaries. We're going to be building a clinic in Bassa. Yeah, I am also a product of Johns Hopkins, but not a doctor. I'm an engineer. And we can make these individual contributions. However, we need something more systematic for it to be sustainable. And that is why I say, how will you approach Medicare or health facilitation in Liberia? It will more or less be not for profit. It will more or less be socialistic. And if you are going to approach it from that view, then you really need the resources to do it. And before you formulate any plan, you have to also know how will you sustain the plan. But let me go on now, Ja, to what catches my heart. When I did a survey, I before the war, I was working for LEC with the Transmission and Distribution Department. And when we were there, they were all Liberians. very few, one or two foreigners were amongst us, but they were there forever. And we manned the place up until the war. I was even captured at the site at Bush, Rhode Island, where we do the generation. And when I went back after several years, when I went back, it was completely different. I don't see any Liberian engineers. I now in telecommunications engineering. I went to telecommunications. I don't see any Liberian engineers. I see the people who play deploying fiber. They're all foreign. It's an entire fire. So, and I look in various sectors of the Liberian economy and industry, and I only see foreigners at key positions, professionals, not Liberians. I don't think we can keep this trend on if we're going to become a prosperous nation. Our youth are supposed to be getting prepared to take over these positions, to take over these industries. I don't see enough effort being put in there to nurture these youth so that they will be able to take over. It is not does not suffice to have foreign people come and do the work for you. They will go back and leave. Two, they will also not be as dedicated as your own Liberian citizen. So we have to if we're going to run our country, we have to prepare our professionals to take over our industries and not rely on foreign people to do it.
How do we do that, Jimmy? How do we do that?
It begins with education. And I'm not even talking about formal education. It begins with vocational education, I would say, because vocational education puts people to work almost right away. Formal education may take a while, but when you teach somebody how to sew in 6th grade, you've already given that person a profession. When you teach somebody plumbing and carpentry in 7th and 8th grade, you've already prepared that young man or young lady to provide for a livelihood for themselves. They may not have a job, but they have the skill. So we have to start imparting a skill set to our people. I don't see any other. I think that should be a national priority that will prepare youth to take over.
Can I just add?
Abby, I'm coming to you, Abby. That's Jimmy is talking about capacity building. You started with healthcare, that you have planned, right? So I'm looking at your, maybe I'm reading your body language wrong. It's like, okay, do they even have anything like? Is there even a plan? Is there even a thought to do what Jimmy is talking about? Well, let me give you a chance to make your point.
No, well, for what he was saying, I was just about to say, you're talking about seamstress and plumber and all those different things. Sad to say, those aren't jobs that Liberian people appreciate. We come from a country that really needs those kind of middle class workers, but Liberian people don't appreciate those jobs. And if you're one of those people, I'm not saying everybody, but if you of that profession, you're not seen as, okay, yeah, you need to be here having any conversation with us. I mean, everybody and their brother in Liberia has an intellectual group or intellectual place to go talk to. So they don't appreciate. We don't appreciate middle class jobs. Okay, I've even people being back home. I heard him, talking to us over here saying, "Oh, what are you guys doing? Are you just working in factories? You just doing this? You just doing that?" So how's the country going to grow when we don't appreciate middle class jobs, lower middle class, upper middle class? We don't appreciate that. We need to change that mentality too, because that's what makes the Western world or the developing world, get even more developed, because they have those kind of jobs. We don't appreciate that. So until then, you will still have foreigners, overseeing everything.
Yeah, but it also starts with our schools, right? Which, again, and I'll come back to my point of not getting the priority. Education.
The mentality comes first, because until we change that.
And so, Abby, to agree with you on that point is when I came to America, so I'm used to my visiting my sister at work, at the National Investment Commission. And then the husband came from Russia with an engineering degree. So I came to America. Oh, my brother-in-law is at work. So I went to visit. and this was a group home setting. So I'm expecting, we go into this place, I'm expecting to see skyscrapers where this man is in his suit. And I'm going and I see these buildings here and there, and people just walking around in the place there. And I'm like, what is this? Is this work? So my idea of work was sitting behind the table. So you have a point there, Mr. Sharif. Capacity building that Jimmy is talking about.
Yeah,
What are we with that?
something I want to come to before I get to capacity building, maybe. And I don't know if it has already been talked about. It's good governance, since you're talking about what catches my heart.
Is it what catches your heart now?
Yeah.
All right, go ahead, sir.
I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot of things. It's not one thing that catches my heart, but it's a lot of things. So I'm just picking one out of the bag right now.
Yeah.
And that's good governance, the rule of law, and the administration of justice. This is not even something that's limited to the current CDC government, to be honest with you. We, at some point, we have to come to the realization that good governance is the fulcrum around which all of what we are discussing now will revolve. So, I know I brought this up before in some of our shows. This CDC government, the president, put out a proposal, to reduce the presidential term of office, the term of office of the senators, the term of office of the members of the House of Representatives. That appeals to me a whole lot. It really appeals to me. And you want to know why? Because here in the United States, I live in Delaware County, Pennsylvania. And so our state reps go every 2 years. So if you're not doing your job, I have, in the next 2 years, I can vote you out. Whereas in Liberia, we don't have enough opportunity to vote these guys out who are really incompetent. I mean, they're there for, it seems like they're there forever. You have a senator, senator for 9 years. That is too much. And what they're doing is they're fleecing the country. They are overpaying themselves. They're paid better than the United States senators. Our members of the House of Representatives are paid better than members of the U.S. House of Representatives for not doing anything. These guys are not doing anything. And so this is where we are. So even the opposition, the very opposition that's campaigning now to replace the current president, they voted against the proposal to reduce the presidential term of office, to reduce the term of office of the members of the Senate and the House of Representatives. So that can't happen. So at what point the Liberian people are going to see through this? At what point the Liberian people are going to ask the hard question? Because the moment you have that, then you're going somewhere. So first is the leadership to me. You have to first have the leadership. Then all of these things shall come after that.
Mr. Sharif, if I may interject, when you say good governance, what is good governance?
To me, good governance is being responsive to the needs of the people, that incorruptible government. There's no perfect society, don't get me wrong. So I'm not naive to believe that there is a perfect system of governance. But where is that check and balance between the judiciary, the legislative, and the executive branch of government? You don't have that at this time. So what you have is an all-powerful executive to which all of these other branches of government that should be independent are subservient, knowingly or unknowingly. You have the judiciary. You have the Supreme Court that's in the pocket of the president. You have the Chief Justice who's in the pocket of the president. All these associate justices are in the pocket of the president. That should never happen. That's bad governance. And by the way, I think you still have a good governance commission. What are they doing? You have the Anti-Corruption Commission, which is more corrupt that's the irony of the situation that we're in. So it's bad governance all over the place. The University of Liberia is shut down right now. When I was at the University of Liberia, it was called Lux in Tenebris. Light, it right now is Tenebris and Tenebris, darkness and darkness. So this is a joke that the University of Liberia at this time is not operational. So we've gone from the days where the university was a top-notch university, not just in West Africa, but the entire the entire region, not just in our sub-region, but the entire West African region. You have Sudanese, people coming from Sudan. You have Southern Africans, people from South Africa, Mozambique, people from Sudan who came to the University of Liberia. You have people from everywhere who came to the University of Liberia to get quality education. Those were the days, right? And our brothers, some of the brothers who graduated, who went to the university in the 70s, the 60s, 70s, they'll still tell us. And those of us who went there before the war knew that even though it had degraded a bit, but it's not as bad as it is now. So all of that ties into the good governance that I just talked about.
Thank you. Mr. Gamer, you want to respond before you bring up your
yes
catch your heart?
Yes. Let me respond to. Let me go back to the healthcare thing here, because first of all, we all agree that socialist medicine failed all over the world. We know this.
No, where did it fail in Cuba?
We want to say yes. Socialist medicine in Cuba has failed to some degree. We know that they put, let's say, about 50 to 60% of the budget. They have done.
Medicare is socialized medicine, right?
They have no listen to this. They have done very well in their area because they do not have the democracy that we enjoy to say we have choice. You don't. So the state puts everything into that. We know everywhere that we have socialist medicine, we have waiting lines, you have all of those things that impede the progress of the people.
Stop it.
Okay, so we know this. Now let's look at the private sector here. Let's look at the private healthcare system. My brother had issue with his prostate in Liberia, and I decided to bring him over here. And then I called
Mr. Gamer, let me interrupt. Sorry to interrupt. The issue is not about private versus public in Liberia. There's nothing there. And you are making the point that private citizens should go and open something. Well, if the conditions are created, I don't think, and people are doing it, people are going and helping. So let us not focus on
no. We are not talking about the mom and pop thing going here. We are talking about conglomerate, something that can actually help.
We don't even have roads. We don't have internet. We don't have
listen, I'm giving you an example here.
You want to go way to the top already?
Listen to this. I'm giving you an example.
What can you give an example?
Listen, I'm giving you an example.
I'm giving U.S. examples.
No, I'm not giving you. I'm giving you. No, Mr. Jai, give me 1 minute here. I'm telling you my own personal experience that I was trying to bring my brother over here. And I called a friend of mine who is a physician at Mount Sinai in New York. And he called me back. He said, but we have a system. We have a system at the JFK hospital. You don't need to bring him here. And guess what? When we went right behind where the Chinese, where the Chinese embassy is, the back road there, I was surprised in Liberia that it has such a clinic that is run by people from Mount Sinai. And guess who was the top physician there? His name was Dr. Bashir. When I met with Dr. Bashir, Dr. Bashir is one of the top doctors, they say, in Africa, and he's from Nigeria. And I went over there, and to see him and to treat my brother was $450 to walk in there. We did have the money, and today he's doing very well with his treatment, his chemo and everything. How can somebody from a different country come into our hometown, okay, and have such a successful, international renowned, recognized hospital within a hospital and making millions? And we are Liberians.
Mr. Gaming, are you listening to yourself?
Yeah, I'm listening to you. Nobody invited him there.
All you care about right now, you only keep talking about somebody making millions. I'm talking about
he saw a gap. He saw a gap. He saw it and went and did it.
So,
I'm
Mr.
not
Gabriel,
saying
what do you
that. I'm
think?
talking about making small incremental changes, because when people look at a problem as so big, then nothing can get done. I'm talking about making little clinics here and there, and then you can move up from there where people can get their primary care. Have people there. All I hear you saying is, "Oh, how this person come and make money. This person come and make money." How many ordinary Liberians have access to good prostate care? $450. How many Liberians can even make that much in a year? The average
But
person.
listen. When you open a private hospital in a country like Liberia, you are not only serving, like, because when I went into that place,
Mr. Gaiman,
yes.
what you think is the issue? If the Nigerian can do it, why you think Liberians are not doing it? In your
That's my question. Why
no, so what you think is the issue?
The issue here is we Liberians, we want to rely on government for everything. We had the Lebanese coming, the Fulanese coming, the Mandingos coming, the Malians coming. Everybody that comes into Liberia does very well, except Liberian. Why?
Thank you.
Mr. Gabriel is part of the CDC, right? When I used to be all in pro WIA, all these points I was making, all those people, oh yes, those are good points. Those are good points. Those are good points. All of a sudden, when you become the ruling party, then it's like, oh my God, you want to rely on the government. What is the government supposed to do? We're not asking the government to go there and have major surgery. It's saying just basic primary care. The government cannot sit there and say, okay, yes, I can have little clinics around the country, satellite campuses. Oh, the government can't do that. As basic as it is, one person can make $180,000, but that person cannot have a little clinic in his county. And you're talking about millions and millionaires. Have a heart. I'm talking about the main thing here, just basic primary care. Clinics.
Thank you. So Jerome, before you didn't still tell us what case you have, but one question is, forget about what the private people are supposed to do or they're not doing, right? Let's just take JFK. Let's just take Phoebe. Let's take JJ Dawson. Let's take JF Graham in Greenville, or Dawson in Kipam. Are they doing okay that are under government control? Even though government shouldn't have hospital in my hometown of Dodvoken, but at least is JFK okay to treat the people? Well, is Phoebe doing okay?
This is what we are talking about here. When you have a nation of 5 million people and your budget is $560 million, and you and I know what $560 million is. When you are building Redemption Hospital, you're building a hospital in Bapolo, you're building a new hospital in Grand Bassa County, you're building a new hospital this and that. I mean, we are talking about $500 million here, okay?
Thank you. We don't have the money. That's the point, right?
We don't have the money. Only the private sector can redeem us here.
Thank you. Let me move to Dr. Saki Golafala, who's just joining us via audio. Dr. Golafala, are you there? All right. Dr. Golafala, you are on mute. If you're ready, okay, let's go to, for me, what catch my heart. Here is the budget, the 2022 draft national budget, right? You see total allotment. What I did was I pick out some areas, right, to look at. And I want to compare, like Ministry of Education, Ministry of State for Presidential Affairs, and want to compare some key items here and see what I found. And this was just quick and dirty. For Ministry of State, the total allotment is 20.3 million. The national legislature is 54.5 million. Ministry, the Monrovia Consolidated School System is 3.8 million. The Ministry of Youth and Sports, 7.6 million. The next line is the compensation. Okay, when it came to goods and services, whatever that means, you have those numbers. Fuel and lubricant for vehicles, the Ministry of State, fuel and lubricant is 475,000. National legislature is 3 million. The Monrovia Consolidated School System is 5,000. For Ministry of Youth and Sports, 0. Nobody there is supposed to put gas in their car. It comes to fuel and lubricants for generator, and you have those numbers. Stationery, and this part blew my mind. In stationery, the Ministry of State for Presidential Affairs is using more stationery than the Monrovia Consolidated School System. I don't know what they're writing. So for stationery, Ministry of State is 508,000. National legislature is 112,000. I compared that with the Monrovia Consolidated School System, that look at D2M, Boswen, Nukutan Junior High, Todman High, and so on, Newport Junior High, GW Gibson. And they said their stationery, they can use 40,000, and the Ministry of State can use 508,000. Then when it came to telecommunication, internet, postage, and courier, the money for the Morovia Consolidated School System to use for internet is 2,000. So I know most of us buy scratch cards. Then again, stationery for youth and sport, that's 5,000 compared to what the Ministry of State is using. If you are in Morovia and you're in America, you are buying scratch card for your relatives over there, a $5 scratch card is like maybe a day or two. So in 2017, there was I don't know if it still exists, there was a $60 plan to have a 1 month internet supply. So if it is $60 and you are in school for, let's say, 10 months, that's $600 for a school. So how in the world can a school like Todman High, if they have to use internet, if they're supposed to have computers, computer lab, if they have to make research, what can $200, $2,000 do for the whole year for the internet? That, and I saw that the government priorities are not aligned with the needs of the people. And that blew my mind, and that's what catch my heart for this discussion. Jimmy, you look at numbers too. And I want to pick on the Ministry of State and want to pick on the budget line of stationery. You stay around the Central Morovia, so you know what the Ministry of State for Presidential Affairs look like. Do you think they require more stationery than those 6 to 10 schools in Morovia? Oh, you are muted.
Mute.
Oh, definitely not. They wouldn't. And why would the budget for the stationery for that ministry be more than the entire budget for education? I don't understand that at all. But I do understand that I'm not sure how they plan to appropriation. I don't know how they plan to actually spend this money. One key caveat issue I have with the budget is that they did not. I have not seen the last year's budget performance, and just like you talk about data tells me where I need to go, where I need to concentrate on, where I need to focus, how successful my plans. If I'm putting money into something and it's not being successful, I don't have to keep on putting money in there. But without a performance document to tell you what you've done, what kind of plan, what kind of forecast are you making? It doesn't make any sense. You have to know what your performance level, what are you doing right and what are you doing wrong, what you can improve before you can even start planning for the future, or you're just shooting in the dark. Today's age is the day of data. The whole world is driven by data today. We need to get on board and not keep using guesswork to determine where we need to put our resources, where we need to look at the data and let the data dictate where we need to put our efforts.
Thank you. Mr. Sharif, I also look at the state of presidential affairs. For 2021, there was no appropriation for scholarship. In 2022, and those of you who have the budget, you can look at it. In 2022, there are thousands of dollars put into foreign scholarship and domestic scholarship. I'm not making a mistake here. I'm saying Ministry of State for Presidential Affairs, not Ministry of Education. I also saw that for the Ministry of Information, Cultural Affairs, and Tourism, their entire budget is $4 million around there. For the Department of Culture and Tourism, last budget the appropriation was $0. This year I think it's 55,000 or so. So if culture and tourism is supposed to bring in billions of dollars as we see in Ghana, why are we giving no money? I'm saying $0. The one Mano people call Fefe. That's the one that's given to cultural affairs and tourism.
Well, Mr. Jack, can I chime in here?
Can I come in?
Oh, okay, Dr. Golafale, you are
Go
here.
ahead.
Welcome, Saki
Yeah,
Golafale. Go ahead.
yeah. Two things on my mind, but I know you're talking about the budget. And the national budget has always been, I would say, used as a political tool, and that has continuously kept our people in poverty. When you talk about the Ministry of State has a budget line item as scholarship instead of that being for the Ministry of Education, it shouldn't be a surprise because Mr. McGill is passing around with scholarship, thing around giving scholarships up. So you expect that they will have something in the budget for that. And mind you, you're gonna hear that it's a personal, scholarship drive by McGill or whoever is gonna oversee that. That is scary. And another thing I want to talk about the national budget is I've been going through the budget line by line, especially with the content, the writings of you. When you read an entity's mission, you look at the objective or the
Yeah.
achievement, and you look at the budgetary allotment. They do not align. It's just like somebody, like I heard one of the colleagues guests here talking about guesswork. It's just like a guess thing people are doing. A typical example: read the MCSS, what MCSS, I mean Tubman University. Read the fiscal year 2022 objective of Tubman University. Compare that to what they have been allotted in the budget for them. You It's not realistic. And you come to think, oh, are these guys really sitting and, you know, who put these documents together? Are they really technocrats? Are people who do they have do they measure these objectives and see how they align with the budgetary allotment, or they're just using some, every year they just use the same template. Nobody is thinking about,
Yeah.
oh my man, just leave that thing there. A typical example: look at the Ministry of Information, Culture and Tourism. Every year they have the same objectives for the fiscal year, but when you see their achievement, they're far different from what the money was intended for. You just see the same thing, they just copy and paste. Nobody is doing
Yeah.
anything significant to make sure that the budget reflects reality. The budget reflects what the national agenda, the national plan, the direction of the country. It's just some guesswork people sit and do. And because a lot of the
We're losing you there, Saki.
some of us said we're not the economists or accountant.
Can he call back in
We
maybe?
go
Yeah,
through
Dr. Saki, we're losing you. Fix that issue. Fix that issue, and so, Mr. Gamer, you can go ahead.
Yes, I just came from submitting my own budget, so I know what you are talking about. If you look at my line out of my budget for my office, you will see 10,000 allotted to me for transportation. Okay, that's for me personally. But when you look at it, when you look at the budget justification, under that $10,000 for my office, that I don't just take 10,000 and go drive around. When you look at the justification of my budget, you will see gasoline. You will see maintenance.
Yeah. Hold on, Dr. Golafale.
You will see maintenance for my car. You will see lubrication.
Oh,
yeah. Go ahead, Doc. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. So, give me just to conclude. The last thing I was saying is, anything in a budget, in a national document, reflects the image of the country. Look on the Ministry of Finance Development Planning website. You go and find a budget document. The first thing that you see is the file name of the budget is misspelled. Budget is misspelled. That alone reflect what's in the document. And then when you read the document, you see the grammars, the English is bad at some place. They're not using punctuation right. The whole document. That's a national document. Who sits and do that kind of thing and put it out for people to look at it? It's a bad reflection of the country. So I just wanted to make that clear. But there are a lot of things we'll talk about. Thank you.
Thank you. So Dr. Golafale, okay, go ahead, Jerome. You had something, and again, let me put a snapshot of the just so that you come in, Mr. Gaiman, and speak to this as well. This is what I was talking about. Ministry of State for Presidential Affairs. You can see 2021. If you compare the budget, you see zero. Okay. Special Operational Services, local scholarship, foreign scholarship, celebration, commemoration, and state visit. Zero last year, and now this year we having 50,000, 40,000, 35,000, and so on and so forth. Go ahead, Mr. Gaiman.
Yeah. So when we come to doing the budget, according to the people in the front office, they said my budget went over $270,000, which I have the right to ask for. But the folks in the front office decided that the budget was not justified, so they cut it down to what they think it should be. So now that this budget is a proposal sent over now to the House and the Senate, we are hoping that those who were elected by the constituents, the people, they would not go and do due diligence and say, listen, $20 million to the presidential, I don't call it Minister of State for Presidential Affairs, is unreasonable, and this is why the budget negotiation comes in. So if you are a senator from Maryland County, Grand Bassa County, and you did not go there to actually scrutinize this budget to put it in line, and you let the executive just ride and take everything, then it's not on the executive per se, because you were elected. Most of you promised that when I go there, I'm going to make changes. I'm going to be tough. I'm going to put you guys in line. Now you are there. You shouldn't look at the budget that they gave you and you feel satisfied that I got my $280,000 plus my brown bags, so I'm okay. This is where leadership comes in. So those are us who have the ears and the contact of our local representatives and senators. This is when they need to go to work and say, you know what, this budget here, we are now going to carve it to where it needs to be. Money from, we'll take $2 million or $10 million, $5 million from the presidential office and put it in education. And when they do that, the government, the president cannot do anything about that. That's the law. And if he vetoes it, they have the overriding power to override the veto. So I don't know why the legislative branch of our government is so lazy in doing these things that are within the purview.
You're muted, Dennis. The
You are muted.
The whole time you've been muted.
Sorry about that. So what you saw there, I was using this document from CPAC that talk about comparing what is appropriated for legislators' vehicles, fuels, and lubricants. Compare that to what is the total being allocated for all community colleges, all training institutes, and the Moravia Consolidated School System. That's the comparison there. And so you will see that they have an incentive to approve whatever budget is being passed on to them, because it is this, you rub my back, I rub your back.
Well, this is where we are talking about when, and I'm sorry to pick on Mr. Dillon here, but when he was going to the Senate, he said these people were spineless people. We are going to cut the fat from the pork. We're going to do this, we're going to do that. And then when you go to Grand Bassa County, my senator said the same thing. They said, when we get there, elect me for the third time or second time, like 18 years, I'm going to go there and you're going to see drastic changes. But when you look at this budget, not one senator for Grand Bassa County, and I'm going to localize it, I'm talking from my own county, not one senator for Grand Bassa County have gone on the air to say, this budget I disagree with, and this is how I suggest we do it. Nobody, everybody is muted. So what I'm saying here is that, you know, I believe in local government. Local government begins at home. It's like charity. If we don't call our own senators, our own representatives out, and we are talking about the entire government, we need to start from home. The people from Grand Bassa County have not spoken up to say this is wrong. Not one.
Thank you, Mr. Gable.
And most of them are relatives of mine.
I don't understand there to say local governments when y'all like the mayors and everybody else is like appointed. I mean, they're not truly being represented, and things that the mayors and the local officials supposed to be taking care of. Everybody runs to the senators and their representative. In my neighborhood, I'm not running to my senator and my representative for something that my mayor can take care of. Then again, the mayor answers to the president because the president appoints all those people and the superintendents. You're not serious about democracy over there. All that noise about, oh yeah, the democracy we enjoy. Come on now. And also to Mr. Eastman's point about scholarship and not having, you know, foreigners in the different places. I don't understand why when they send people for, and I don't know if this is, you know, when they send people for the scholarships and send people overseas, don't these people sign contracts stating that they're going to work for the government at least like 2 to 3 years or for an allotted period of time if you're going to get the scholarship? Because if I'm giving you money to go to another country to learn and no, you know, you have nothing saying that you have nothing. No, you know, no obligations to me. I'm just giving you money and you're going somewhere else. So you're taking all the education and talent to another country and that you don't have to come back and give back to the country that educated you. Are they still doing that? Because from what I heard last, they're still doing that. What sense does that make? I don't get it.
Yeah. Mr. Sharif?
Yeah, I don't think it's I don't think it's enforced. And that's where good governance comes in. It's not enforced. So you have individuals who get these scholarships, and the scholarships are attained under, you know, sometimes under very dubious circumstances. You have to know somebody who knows somebody to get on one of these scholarships. We try getting on one of these if you belong to, you know, my ethnic group, for example. Good luck with that. So you don't necessarily get on these scholarships unless you know somebody who knows somebody. And then when you get on the scholarship, you come to the United States or you travel to Europe or wherever, you finish school, you can choose to stay. So we have a lot of people who came over here and they've stayed and there's no penalty. And so that's wasted resource. And then there's one other thing. So you have government officials, the upkeep for government officials is wasted resource. So why do you get them a car? Why do you get them gasoline? Why do you pay for their housing allowances and all of that? You know, why do you pay them to talk to their family members overseas or talk to their girlfriends and boyfriends? Why do you pay them to do all of these things? Again, that's wasted resource. So my thing is Liberia is a real tragedy. It's a sad, very sad story of an African and a small country that can really be the beacon of West Africa in terms of democracy, in terms of development, in terms of everything else. This, keep in mind, this is the oldest independent republic after Ethiopia. In fact, there was a time that Ethiopia temporarily lost its independence after the Italian invasion. I believe in the 1930s. So Liberia has consistently been independent since 1847. What has the nation to show for this? And this is not just tied around the neck of one administration. This has been going on for time immemorial. At what point this is going to stop? So you have government officials, right, who don't go to JFK Hospital. They get medevac to Ghana for treatment. Some people get medevac to Conakry, Guinea for treatment. Others get medevac to the United States for treatment. So no government official is using local facilities. So this is the beginning point. At what point the government is going to pay attention, for example, to JFK, and build more JFKs. The Jacksonville Hospital, okay, the Martha Tubman Memorial Hospital in Zwedru, because there was a time that the Martha Tubman Memorial Hospital in Zwedru was a really good hospital. So, but not anymore. So a nation is supposed to go forward, but not regress. So despite the regression, every time there is election, you have all these people in the street beating drums and singing behind these politicians who are not really going to do anything for them. So what my point is, good governance. This has to start with good governance. Who is that leader? I continue to say this. Who's going to step up to say enough is enough? I love this country so much. I've been to other places and I want my country to move forward. I haven't seen that leader. George Weah has lived in the United States. He went to school here in the United States, at least from what I understand. And so he knows what goes on in the United States. His vice president has traveled to some other countries. Last time she was in Ghana when she got medevac to Ghana. So she knows what goes on in all these other countries. Why don't you transport? Why don't you import some of those good things that you see in other countries? But the vision is not there. These guys are not patriots, and they are fleecing Liberia. They don't care about Liberia. And this is the sad tragedy. So all you hear from us is, we continue to say, we continue to fight about our homeland, who belongs here. I belong here. You don't belong here. But we don't love the country enough to do the things that we're talking about tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Sharif. And I just learned that since 40 years, there had been no new public school built in Liberia for 40 years now. In fact, there have been a reduction because Central High, for instance, is no more. So there's no public school. What you see, the new schools that are being built are all private schools, and that is sad. But we take a short break. When we come back, we're going to go to our viewers to also find out what catch their heart. We'll be right back.
At Focus on Liberia, we discuss everything Liberia, from education to politics, arts and culture, entertainment, agriculture, history, religion, family, and technology. Focus on Liberia uncovers and showcases the best of Liberia and shows the world the truth about Liberia. We educate, elevate, and promote all things Liberia. We conduct interviews, panel discussions, debates, and more. Tune in to Focus on Liberia on Facebook and YouTube and be a part of the stories that make up the news.
This is Focus on Liberia, and I am Dennis Jar.
Welcome back to Focus on Liberia. This is our program, What Catch Your Heart. And this is where you tell us what's that one thing on your mind that you want to share. For Dwight Duggar-Port, one thing that keeps me awake at night is the continuous rise of kids 10 years old and under selling in the street of Liberia during school hours. Parents and guardians of these kids need to be fined. Mr. Ismail, you are smiling. Unmute, please.
Yes, and let me tell you, I love that, Liberian criticism, but we have to be realistic, and I know that brother, we go back, and let me just say that, but you can't. Can you imagine the kind of issues we have in Liberia? Now we're talking about parents should keep the children in. The people don't have food to eat. They're struggling for money. I'm telling you, if you go around in the evenings in Liberia, where they have their nightclubs and things, you see those places flooded with guys just parking cars. They're not parking cars. They're, let me mind your car. Let me mind your car. Even the people who are actually selling, what is the profit margin on those things? There's very low profit margin. But we still have a demographic that is explosive. We have young people. The thing is, we're not giving them tools. That selling, that you're now selling, that let me help you park your car, that's not what they need. All we have to do to prepare for Liberia's future, all we have to do is prepare our youth to take it. We there's not much we can do now with structure. It costs money, but what we can do is now prepare the road. And the preparation has to be investment in the youth. That's it.
Thank you.
We're not doing enough of that.
Thank you. Let me bring one more comment, and Abby, you will come in with this one. Dave just said, what catch my heart is for the first time in a long time, a true Liberian patriot from the grassroots and with the soundness of mind, yesterday declared his intention to run for the presidency in 2023. This will be a turning point of presidential politics in Liberia because I'm impressed with the Gonglo's declaration. Thus, I have suspended my presidential campaign so far to assess my support to Councillor Tiawan S. Gonglo.
You know, Jay, I have to comment there. I know this brother. I know him. He's we went to school together. We're all in LU together. And he's always been a smart guy. I used to call him Dr. Fofana's protege. He used to grade his papers and everything. He's a great brother. But now he's getting into Liberia. Liberian politics is not nothing ordinary. You know, he's going to have to learn the game of politics. He could be a good person. He could be an astute lawyer or a good economist because we were studying economics together. He could be all of this. But to be successful in Liberian politics require other things. And that is what we're about to see now. You know, you can have a great individual, but doesn't mean they will get through in the politics.
Well, Mr. Jai, real quick, I think my sister talked about, Ms. Tyler talked about, or Mr. Eastman talked about building of the middle class. In this country, we build the middle class, like it's a true vocational training. But we are talking about the brain drain in Liberia. Not only that, but the selfishness of Liberians in the diaspora. And I'll give you an example again. I was sitting on the search committee for Grand Bassa University to bring in qualified Liberians to the country to help elevate the university from community college to a university level. And all of these young folks, talented young folks that we got in touch with, their demand for coming home was so high. In fact, one of them wanted us to have a relocation package. A relocation package alone. And I'm saying to him, but if we are all patriotic Liberians and want to make a difference, why are you requiring so much to come back home to take over a job that you will do well and help develop our country? They wind up going to Fruit Bay College in Sierra Leone to bring somebody to help us. So when we got to Liberian men, so we got to talk so and talk so. Our Liberians in the diaspora, when we reach out to you, your demand for coming home, you want to live the life that you live here in these United States in Liberia. He wanted a car, he wanted a driver, he wanted this, he wanted that, almost up to $60,000 to a relocation package. Where do we get this kind of money from to bring these people home? So let's talk so and talk so. It is sometimes unreliable and unbelievable what the demands our people make.
Thank you. Abby, you are muted if you're talking to us.
Meanwhile, the senator is making $180,000.
That's correct.
And at the same time, okay, then work up a better program that when you expect us to come back. So what is like? He's saying that you expect me, if I'm living a middle class life over here, you're expecting me to go back home with my expertise, my student loans and everything, and go back home and start from scratch and just live in somewhere where no electricity, nothing and all that, because I want to prove that I'm a patriotic Liberian. Meanwhile, the patriotic Liberians in the government are living the best lives. Seriously? Why? I mean, you have to make some accommodations, but you can't sit there and be like, no, we don't want you to give us everything. We want to give you mansions and all that, but, at least give me something comparable to what I'm doing over here, or at least close to that. You can't sit there and say, we're so selfish, we're so this. That's not, you're not making this receptive to saying, if you have that kind of attitude, people would be like, whoa. You're breaking the communication right there by using those terms,
Thank you. Mr. Sharif, as we learned from the CPAD report on the budget, our pro tempore more than the pro temper here in the United States.
Obviously.
Our speaker, who just got a raise, make more than Nancy Pelosi. So Mr. Gilmer is saying, come home, I moved in the suburb of Atlanta because my income went up. No, I'm kidding. So, and you are saying, just come home. I really have the desire to go to Dodwigan, my hometown, where I used to cross 4 creeks to get to the school. I want to go there and teach. But we have at least, at the minimum, let there be a road between Monrovia and Greenville. I don't have to spend 6 weeks leaving Monrovia going to Greenville. Go ahead, Mr. Sharif.
Yeah, Dennis, first of all, I'm disappointed that Dave is suspending his presidential campaign. Because I was planning on being the campaign manager and he didn't run this by me.
No, but yesterday you said you were going to be the campaign manager for Carl Family now. So you are becoming another Mike Jabata.
No, because I know smart people when I see one, right? So, he didn't run this by me. But on a serious note here, and Abby just talked about it. You have the senators who are better paid than the senators in the United States. Our president pro temp is better paid than the president pro temp in the United States Senate. I'm not talking about the state Senate, the United States Senate. The speaker, our speaker, is better paid than the speaker in the United States Senate, in the United States Congress. So this is inexcusable. You know what else? So we get up every day, every time we travel and come to America and beg the Americans for funding for our roads, and we beg America to fund our hospitals, and we beg America for economic assistance. And the United States ambassador had to go the other day to disgrace the administration, tongue lash the administration about the whole LEC issue. So at what point Liberians are going to rise up to say enough is enough? Dennis, I'm not seeing that. And this is my biggest disappointment. I don't know if in our time that we're going to see the change that we're talking about, right? I don't know if in our lifetime that we will see anything close to a good society. I'm not even looking for a very good society. I'm looking for a good society, and that's a low bar. But these guys are not trying. So what you have is that individuals who are vying to go into the legislature, they are either going to the legislature to protect their businesses. I've heard that. I've been told that by friends, but sometimes by friends who are running for these positions. They're either going in to protect their businesses, or they're going in to fleece the country. So you don't need this. So let's just say someone asked me, Muhammad, but if you criticize so much, if you're president, what are you going to do? Well, I don't have the power to go ahead right away and cut these and cut their salaries and whatnot. But I think if I build enough legislative majority, I can then say, you know what? These members of these representatives, we can pay them $1,000 a month. Senators, $1,500 a month. That's it. You get no vehicle. You purchase your own vehicle. You purchase your own gasoline. When you begin to take these radical steps, you will disincentivize public service in Liberia. Public service is where people go to make a living in Liberia. Government jobs. So you see everybody and their brothers and sisters want to enter government job to further erode our economy, to steal our wealth. That's what it is. So if you want to call it for what it is, people get into government job to steal. So if you're asking a diaspora Liberian to go back home and serve their country because they're supposed to be a patriot, and meanwhile, those patriots that are sitting in Capitol Hill, they're stealing hundreds of millions of dollars. These guys up there are millionaires. These guys, some of these ministers are millionaires already. You saw the other day, McGill went to Buchanan. Like, what is that about? So you're going to launch a scholarship, and you have all these massive, program to just welcome the Minister of State to Buchanan. I mean, this is unacceptable. It's unacceptable that we have to, and I know I'm all over the place now, that we have to celebrate the president's birthday in pomp and pageantry when the people are poor, when the poor people cannot afford their daily bread. Liberia has an existential issue. The existential threat to Liberia is ignorance and poverty. Until that is tackled, this country is going to be behind. Someone told one of the colleagues on our show said we shouldn't be comparing. It's inexcusable to compare countries, but we are forced to compare ourselves at this time with, for example, what goes on here in the United States. That's not what they do here in the United States. The governmental structure, the institutions here are not perfect, but at least people are held accountable. There is a semblance of an attempt at good governance, and that's what I'm asking for. I'm asking for good. I'm not even asking for very good anymore, because I don't think that's attainable.
Well, Dennis, real quick, and this is
before you come in, I just want to you say McGill is going to Buchanan giving scholarship. Well, it's in the budget. 2021 local scholarship for 2021 is zero. So that money is not in the budget, so I don't know where he's taking it from. But now for 2022, local scholarship is 40,000 USD and foreign scholarship is 35,000 USD. And that's going to continue until election year 2023. Go ahead, Gilman, quickly, and then we're going to wrap up.
Yes, and what we are talking about here, this cuts across party line. This cuts across nationality. We are talking about national issue here that is actually has become a national security issue. We talk about this. When my friend Besoga Finley was president pro tem of the House, of the Senate, I went there and I saw what they were doing, and I said it. One line item in the budget that really got to me was that the Liberian government were paying $1,800 to every lawmaker for housing allowance in your own home, where, I mean, you are a Liberian in Liberia, and they're paying you almost $2,000 a month. That's like $24,000 free money that comes to you for living in your own country. And you don't have the conscience enough to say, this one, let's put it back in the budget, let it go to somebody else. But all of these folks that I talk to, they look at me like I was from outer space. So they come out here and make all these promises. They are going there to make the difference. And recently, my own bastard brother, Dylan, was going over there to make all these changes to rally the crowd, to cut these. And now they are going over there. How can you live in your own home, in your own country, in your own house, and you're taking $2,000 per month from the poor? I mean, it is unbelievable what these people, who these people. I know somebody told me, Jerome gave me, if you come to grandfather and you run for dog catching position, you can't win because your mouth.
Mr. Gilman, that's it. Sometimes I don't know how these, and Jimmy can be able to speak to that, how these budgets things are, how they come up with them, right? So, for instance, I think like Ministry of Finance, the budget is like what, 158 million. Do these people in these ministries sit down and write, okay, this is the budget, and then they submit it to the finance ministry, this is what we need for this year? The finance ministry put all the budget together and then submit it to the legislature. How do they formulate these numbers? Because I'm going through them, is like they don't even make sense. Someone would take one figure and just run it across the whole thing. Mm-hmm. So you are like, I see your emphasis is on the legislature. Why are they not doing this? But these numbers are coming from the executive.
Yeah, but it is the check and balance we talked about.
Right. So the executive is okay to do anything foolish, and they expect the legislature to check that.
Oh, but listen to me. When I was CEO in the United Way, I served on both the allocation and the disbursement. Okay, these guys that run like the Boys and Girls Club, they come in with some outrageous numbers. They just believe that if you ask for 100, they will give you 50. So this is across the board. So our finance team goes there and say, listen, you cannot say you're going to use $12,000 for gas when we know you're using $200 a week for gas. We're going to multiply $200 times 52 weeks. And that's the amount you're going to use for gas. And how do we justify that? Because that's what we have been doing for the past 5 years. So we justify that. That's what they do. The House has that Ways and Means Committee. Their job to say, listen, you can't come here and say you're living in your own house and you want $2,000 per month. That's $24,000 per person, and you're 107 or 103. Multiply that. It's unbelievable. We're not going to do that. That money could be. So if the Ways and Means Committee, they are not going through it with a fine tooth comb and just gave the money as the people request for it, then it's on them.
Imagine what that $2,000 could do for a clinic in there.
That's correct.
All that. But no, you want us to come home and work for free, or just volunteer?
No. I don't want you working for free. I want you to come for you and I can join together and build. We want to make some money.
Yeah, but come on and yeah.
Viriam,
sure.
Powerhouse is saying, the money allocated for scholarship is small. I think this is what she's trying to imply. But scholarship should not be under Ministry of Presidential Affairs. If you read their mission, they are supposed to assist the president. So according to the budget, the Ministry of State and Presidential Affairs was established by an act of the legislature on December 31st, 1971 to assist the president to administer the affairs of the state.
Did I miss where mention what was allocated for healthcare? Did I miss that part? I kept looking. I didn't see it.
Well, you'll be surprised. But let's go around the room where we.
Dennis, I like to add something just before you go. I like to add something. I'm going to
give you a chance to go around the room and make your closing comments. But go ahead.
We're talking about scholarships and stuff. Listen, when the advent of the internet, when the internet was created, the world became flat. There is a capability that boys in Douaison, in Bapaloo, can get the same quality education as somebody sitting in Harvard or MIT.
Yeah.
We can do that through the internet. We are not expanding the resources that will have a cataclysmic effect on everybody else.
Yeah.
It's almost as if we don't see it.
Let me stop you. This is the amount being allocated for internet for these public schools of the Monrovia Consolidated School System, $2,000. Go ahead, sir.
That's dismal. Don't we understand that if a child or a student can have access to the internet, they don't need a library, they don't need a book. Everything is online. There's a greater library online. All we need to do is give them access to the internet. Now, if you go around Liberia today, you will see that the telecommunications industry, again, they're building rings around their LU that should have gotten this internet access a long time ago, because part of that fiber project was Indiana University intently supported LU to have that connection, but it's not being done. Why? And it's a mystery. But if we don't focus, you don't have to do a lot, because once you give people the tools, they will excel by themselves. You want Liberian students to be excellent, give them access to the internet. You will see what they will become.
Many years ago, when I was on Radio LIB, I think it's been almost 10 years now, I said, you have all these different internet schools and all that, and you have the smart boards. You can literally take like a church building or any big building in the little villages and just have smart boards and have kids come to school. They don't have to come to school every day because they have to help on the farm and all. They can still come to class like every 3 days a week and have the teachers right at the Khan Academy. You can do that, and they can learn right there on the screen and go home. And even me, I do my. By the way, let me plug my thing. Abby Tyler's Healthy Living. I talk about healthcare every week, and I've been doing it since 2014. Okay, and I do that. So it's like there's so many ways, like he just said, but I've been talking about since way back Radio LIB days. Let me talk about how you can use the internet here to really to educate people back home, and it can be really cheap, really inexpensive. I haven't seen that being done yet. Maybe it's been done. I don't know. I doubt it. But, this is not a new concept. We've been doing the internet forever. People can come on the internet and cuss me out from Liberia. They certainly can do that to go to school, But those are the things when you talk about when you don't follow the political, you don't lean their political way or their tribal way, then it's like, shut up. You don't know what you're saying. We're not listening to you. And then they go on their way. So that's like,
by the way, on Tuesdays, 7 p.m., Abby will be here. Our topic, do you know how your provider comes up with your diagnosis? According to Abby, what you tell your provider plays a major part in determining your diagnosis and plan of care. And that comes from when you go to ask for your chief complaints. What are you here for? You say it. And then they go into your history of present illness. So she'll be here Tuesday, 7 p.m. And I'll be here as the host so that we can go into healthcare. She's passionate about this. So we say focus on Liberia in collaboration with Abby Tyler's Healthy Living. We are doing this together. You don't want to miss it. At this time, let's go around the room and close tonight on what catch your heart and what you want. The one thing that you want our listeners to go with. We want to appreciate all our listeners. Let me see if I have few that something catch their heart. All right. Let's go around the room for your closing comments. Let me start with the unabashed and unapologetic sedition, Mr. Jerome Gilman.
Absolutely. One of the things that I wanted people to get away with today, and it catch my heart, is the separation of powers in Liberia. If you belong to the country devil, whoever you are, tell your country devil to stay in the bush and stay away from the executive and the constitutional power of Liberia.
Is that a real thing? The country devil, is that a real thing? Is that just somebody who's
costume? Let him finish.
No, I don't know. I'm just asking,
Yeah, we'll come to
that. Recently, the country devil in Lofa County blocked the road, blocked access to the county, all the bridges, because they said their son needed to be certificated, so they deny access, freedom of movement, which is a constitutional breach. So what we are saying here is, whether you are Pora or Sandy or whatever it is you belong to, that's why they call it secret society. Whatever you do, it has to be done with wisdom. When you cross the line where you are now violating our constitution, then you are now getting into the space where the government needs to deal with you according to the law. And that would be to invoke the police power. And I do not think we want to see our devils being arrested or being beaten, but the devil needs to know their place. Stay in the bush. Or if you're from hell, go back to hell where devil belongs. Thank you very much.
Mr. Gilman, your statements are very hurtful to the traditional society. Yeah. And I think when you are saying the country devil should stay in the bush, these people, they are traditional schools. Don't use a Western way of thinking to describe them. Okay, and then there is, under our law, we have these traditional societies or their laws existing side by side with the laws or the Constitution. So you cannot say you don't have a place. They too have a place.
But our Constitution divides our places. And we don't have to cross our line.
If citizens come together and say and protest, because that's a form of protest. So forget who is behind them, whether you call them country devil or city devil. Citizens are coming together and saying, well, we elected our senator and he needs to be seated. If you cannot seat him, then have a by-elections, but Lofa needs 2 senators to be in the Senate, not 1. And that's what they are protesting about. Not because they can't speak English, so you should maybe talk to them in a derogatory term.
No, it's not derogatory. I'm only saying that when the denial of freedom of movement is a violation of the Constitution. That's what I'm saying.
Thank you. Abby.
I'm going to have to make another show for this country devil thing because I'm still trying to understand what it is exactly. Because back in the day, it wasn't just somebody in a costume. I don't know. Anyway, another show, another time. Okay. Well, my closing comments, right? Like I said before, Liberia doesn't have to make, do miracles to make things happen. Especially when it comes to healthcare, they can make small changes here and there, appreciable small changes. Like I said, smaller little clinics in Liberia. in different counties, in different towns, and all big hospitals that have, for 3 smaller counties, or major hospital in, each county, just somewhere there, and just try to make smaller changes. Okay, then later on we can talk about the healthcare and the health insurance and all that, because if you don't have insurance, if you don't have a job with a high unemployment rate, who's going to have money to pay the little bit of money to have to pay for health insurance? Even in America, most people decide they're just going to go without health insurance if they can't, they don't need extra money being taken out of their small paycheck. So eventually, I'm just saying, also, all the different political parties, please reach out to the Liberians, clinicians in America and other diaspora places and all that, and just say, okay, how can we work with you? How can you work with us? So when we get there, or even those in this, sitting presently can say, how can you reach out to you, and we can join hands and make things happen and improve the lives of our people. Healthcare is very important. Healthcare is paramount to developing society. I know most people don't find it really important, but it is over here and there. That's why, I'm very passionate about it. Even the things that I do on my forum and all that, most people won't be doing that. What I'm doing, people get paid to. That's consultation, and I'm getting that for free. So, and I know people watch me in Liberia also. People ask me questions in my inbox and stuff like that. So, and I love doing that. I love teaching my healthcare. I love providing healthcare, because I do that, also free of charge when I do when I do our Labor Day thing in my community, for my Liberian community. So that's not something I'm just doing because I want to get money from it or whatever. I get paid. I'm gainfully employed. I was a nurse for 22 years prior to becoming a nurse practitioner. So it's something I'm very passionate about, deep down to my soul. So every time I come across, I'm like, maybe a little combative. I'm sorry, Mr. Gaiman, but that's just, I'm very passionate about it. And I don't make apologies for being passionate about it. I just, this is my first time you and I going back and forth. So yeah, expect more the next time we we talk again. So
thank you, Mr. Sharif. Your closing comments.
It's funny. All right, so good governance, the rule of law, and the administration of justice. This is where I am tonight. There's a lot in my bag, but this is the one thing that I take out of my bag, because this is the umbrella under which everything else falls. And just going back to Jerome for a minute, regarding the demonstration, the protest by the country devils. When justice is denied, so what's the basis of all of this? We have a senator, someone who was legitimately elected senator of Lofa County, has not been seated because of the political manipulation of the CDC-led government, especially the president of the Republic of Liberia. That being said, I have been consistent on this show, on this platform, talking about seating Mr. Brani Samakai. That being said, I think that when the country society take on the responsibility, they should also take on the responsibility in a responsible manner. So when you block traffic that way, you're also impeding progress. You're people who have to go out to make a living. You're basically saying that they can't. You're basically holding them responsible. Why aren't they coming to Monrovia to demonstrate, to protest at the executive mansion in front of the president of the republic? So to me, that didn't go down well with me. And the other issue is, this is not the first time the country, society, people have been attacking people in authority. Last year, there was a police officer. I think last year or a year before, there was a police officer who was assaulted in Nimba County. And before that, there was another police officer who was bloody in Nimba County by the country devils. A couple of months ago, the country devils also stopped mining operation in Yekipa. So all of these things are things that need to be discussed, either by the executive or the legislature. There has to be something in place.
Mr. Cherry, you left out the country devil in the ballot box in Bapulu.
Okay, I'm not even well versed with that. But so you get the gist of where I'm going with this. So we cannot have a parallel authority. We have a president of the republic who was duly elected by the people. The country devils were not elected by the people of Liberia. So we have the president. Let the president exercise that authority. And that's what we're saying. So that it went to court. They are frustrated, obviously. And their protest now has to come to the executive mansion, not, black and rose, because there could be sick people in some of those cars that are trying to go to hospital. So that didn't go down well with me. And that's where I'm going to leave that. I mean, we respect, I mean, I do respect everybody, all religion, whatever you believe in. What if this was a group of Muslim people who went to, block off their traffic? It will be, oh my God, everybody will go haywire. Oh, the Muslim invasion. So, let's be careful on how we channel our grievances.
Thank you. Jimmy?
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes.
I'm not a politician, but I do believe we can get results. There's certain things we can do, and we'll get results. It doesn't take rocket science. Okay, if you give Liberians the chance, if you give them the skills and the requisite, Kwame Nkrumah did this in Ghana. If you give them the skills they need, they will find a way to fish. If we put in certain infrastructure that will build capacity in Liberia, we will grow. There's so many things that are wrong. So that's why it's very difficult to deal. You can name it. Okay, infrastructure, all the security system. There's so many things. So I'm saying the only way we'll be able to solve this issue is to empower Liberians. Once we empower them, they will find a way to we'll solve our own problem. But keeping them in the dark, keeping them not with the tools they need to see where they really are, who they really are, and what they can become, then we're not going to go anywhere. But we can do it if we empower our citizens.
Thank you so much, Jimmy. I spoke about the budget, and I still want to come back to it. Priorities. And sometimes it bothers me, like our leaders, they are not even thinking through things. They have political and sometimes knee-jerk reactions. We learn in basic economics that our wants are unlimited, but the needs we have to satisfy those needs or those wants are limited. So what we do is we prioritize. So I learned in 10th grade that if you had $100 and school is opening, you arrange, okay, I get my books, I get my shoes, I get my backpack. So you arrange, and then I go to the movies, and you say, well, of all these 1,000 things, I need to prioritize because I know I have only $100. Our government, again, is not prioritizing. It's taking money and putting them in the wrong places, and we saw that through the budget. If you want to know where someone priority lies, you go to that person's budget. Where are they spending the money? So even if you look in your home and see where you're spending most of your money, that's where your priority is. From what we see, our priorities are in the wrong areas. And I think it was Mr. Saki Golafale who was talking about even the way they put the budget together. Things are misspelled. It's like they are not thinking through things very well. And I'll give you an example. Just last week, I had people from Basel University, formerly Basel Community College, right, Mr. Gaiman?
Yes.
Guess, and that was changed to a university like almost 2 years now. You give me the date.
Yes.
Okay.
About 2 years now.
See what we have in the budget, Basel Community College. It is no longer Basel Community College. It's now Grand Basel University. So you see what is in the budget. For the tuition-free policy, this is what the government is giving for the tuition-free policy. Okay, repairs, generators. 2021, 2021, it was what? In 8,000, and the new budget 2,000, right? So the president of the university cried that we don't even have money. We don't even have to keep the generators on. We don't have that. And we see that in the budget. Where is our priority? If you look at the youth and sport budget, the youth, there's nothing there. I think it's like 7 million or something under that. So the priorities here, so if we want to build capacity, as Jimmy said, if we want to fix our healthcare system, as Abby said, if we want good governance, as Mr. Sharif, we have to put money in those places. Even though what we have is small, but we need to prioritize. Good governance, all our integrated institutions are not funded. And as Sharif said, they themselves, they have problems. Healthcare, I'm not talking about my hometown, way beyond God's back. I'm talking about Greenville. I'm talking about Monrovia. I'm talking about Bannersville. Okay, my nephew called me and said, I have this, I have this diagnosis. I say, how they know? This is Bannerville Health Center is diagnosing you of this. Send me the papers. When you send the paper, there's nothing there. People are guessing. Okay, so government should put money in those areas. I want to thank you.
Can I just say one thing real quick?
Ladies and gentlemen, for coming, and our viewers for also being here with us to tell us what catched your heart. Go ahead, Abby.
Mr. Gaiman, and not specifically to you, anybody who has a black men, please get your prostate, get your PSA done at least every year when you get your routine test done, get your prostate checked. And if you have a family member who has an issue with a prostate, you're at a higher risk of getting what do you have, enlarged prostate or prostate CA. So please make sure that you follow up with your doctor, get your prostate check, and get your PSA level check every year. Okay.
Thank you for caring for the men.
And thank you so much. We want to thank our viewers again for being here. Always on Focus on Liberia, we discuss, we elevate, we educate, and promote all things Liberia. Keep it here and continue to support us. Every Friday at 6, we have the literary hour. Every Saturday at 3, we have the business and economic time, that is FOL Marketplace. You sure don't want to miss it. This Sunday, I'm going to be hosting the leadership of the Bodobuan refugee camp. They want to evict them again and demolish the camp. They are extended the timeline now. The timeline, I think, is past already. It's fast approaching. And so we want to talk to them. I was on the camp. I left 2000. From 97 to 2000, I was there. And I know the expectation when you are on the refugee camp. It's been over 30 years. They still have not gone home, and we don't know what's going on. So we want to end on that note. Again, thank you for joining us on What Catch Your Heart. And if you are there and something catches your heart, feel free to drop us a line, focusonliberia@gmail.com. Until then, my name is Dennis Jar, signing off with the song that says, "We are all Liberians."
We are Liberians. Liberia is our home. Liberia people.